We're live, everybody. Welcome to another Vaguely News, aka Vaguely True, with your host, Rob Vega. Today is April 10th, 2026, and we'll be right back after this.
This is True OF Entertainment.
Well, here we go. It's the man that promises you nothing and delivers. It's the veritable man motor mouth. It's Rod Woods who feels the need to call himself Rob Vega. It somehow makes him feel important. Anyway, do have a listen and try not to throw up.
Oh, see, that's a biggie, that trying not to throw up one. But anyway, how have you been?
Yeah, it's been a minute, and a few things have happened since we last chatted.
Yeah, nothing's happened. Everything's fine. The world's great.
It's just so bloody tiring, Steve. I mean, you and I had a chat the other day about
We did.
The state of whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like it is a reality show right now. That's what it is. It feels like a reality show, and there are no commercial breaks.
Right.
It's just going on and on and on. And I feel like I used to feel when I watched people watching the Kardashians.
Okay.
In a sense that I would be, imagine it's a movie, it's a movie house, cinema, theater, whatever.
Right.
And you're standing at the front where the screen is.
Sure.
Picture this now with me. You're standing down there where the screen is, and the audience is behind you, and it's packed. And they are fixated on whatever the hell is on the screen. And on the screen, you've got the Kardashians doing that banal, inane, whatever.
Right.
You're looking at the screen and you're going, I don't get it. And you turn back to the audience and all you see is this. Then you go back to the screen, you go, there is something I'm missing. There is something I'm okay. Deep breath. No, still not getting it. Turn back to the audience. That is exactly what it feels like right now in the world. That is what it feels like. There is absolute. It's not stupidity. It's just what is that? You've got these people, and it's not just the US. It's everywhere. It's here too. You've got people in office, in power, that have been elected, that people have elected, that have no clue ostensibly what they're doing. And you just go, it's okay. The educated, normal people are going to go, nah, we've had enough of this. This is, don't worry about it. And you wake up the next day and, oh no, the same people are still there spouting the biggest lot of, it's beyond nonsense. It's just ridiculous. Hi, everybody. Today, look at that purple sky. Right? Look at that purple sky. The sky is purple. The sky is purple. The sky is purple. Guys, the sky is blue, or light blue, dark blue if you're an artist, and with a bit of white with the clouds. But it's not purple. It is purple. You have got purple sky derangement syndrome because you think you're like, you with the blue sky people. You have blue sky derangements. Oh my God. And it just goes on and on and on and on. And people say you're looking at a dog, and people say, no, that's a cat. You're looking at a cat. That isn't a dog. Every day, this isn't even opinion. It's just facts that are not. And it's everywhere. It permeates everything. There is just beyond bullshit would be a good word. Bullshit would be a compliment to describe what I mean, I know you get fringe people, Steve.
Right.
You get people that, we got some idiots. Every place has got idiots. I remember growing up, my dad used to say to me, I can't remember the exact order, in every group of guys, you've got the entrepreneur, the comedian, the troublemaker. You've got a group. It's an eclectic mix of people. People are varied. This is true. We have bell curves, we have an average, we have stupid, we have bright. And it just feels like the big thing in the middle is down the bottom now. It's not a bell curve. It goes like a wedge. Like everybody is down the bottom end. What do you think?
That's a lot to unpack, and thank you for the
Well,
fans in your comments right now. But so, if you're talking about the Iraq War, that we've
I
here's
think you
the
mean the
problem.
Iran war. I think you mean the Iran war.
Iran, Iraq, it's all the same crap at this
Exactly.
point. They both
Yes.
begin with an I. Here's the
Okay.
problem. Here's the issue. We were going to bomb them back to the Stone Age 2 days ago, 3 days ago, and then we gave them 2 more weeks. This is kind of like what Bush did with Gaddafi, like keep drawing the line in the sand. And so they still control the Strait of Hormuz. It's sort of like, okay, what are we going to do? We're dropping out of NATO again this week. It's sort of like, to your point, it is. It's like a bad reality show. But then again, he did do The Apprentice, so
Okay, but it's not even that. I'm I've got one foot in U.S. politics and so on. There, I still have my work visa. I was a ball hair away from a green card, and then I came back here, and I really was coming back and getting my green card and whatever. And then what? And don't get me wrong, Steve, you and I have had this conversation. I'm a big fan of how America developed, to be clear, the United States, because America is the continent. I can hear people saying that right now. The United States. Right?
United States. Right.
Former British North America, I think it was called. Was it called that? It was called British North America. And then that's where New England came from. Anyway, forget about it. So it was, we got it, the people that arrived, I mean, Europeans and a lot of English folk, and they said, we don't want a king. We don't want that. That doesn't work for us. We are starting something brand new. I mean, that's fantastic. They had the balls, the gumption to get over there. We've had this conversation. I think it must have been a frightening, exciting time for people. It didn't go very well in many ways at the beginning. It was a little strip of land down the East Coast, the 13 colonies, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, the point is there was some very bright, intelligent, adventurous people. They didn't want to be told what to do. And there was the War of Independence. And, go away. We don't want kings. Get away. And they won it. And you thought, good. Here we go. The game's on. It's all good. Right. If you look at it, if you follow it like a reality show, and it's done very well, very an amazing constitution. You know the part where you go to Congress before you make decisions.
Hey, just so you know, your sound is out. Your sound is out. Fix your microphone. Fix your microphone. Hello. Hey, how you doing? Got to fix your microphone. Got to fix your microphone. Hey, you're not even listening. So you got to fix your microphone. Yeah, can't hear you. No, can't hear you. But whatever you said that we didn't hear sounded great. While you're trying to get your microphone to work, we have a fan that says both wars still can't hear you. No, I don't know what happened. Plug your mic back in. I think you disconnected your mic. Now you're on mute. No, there you go. Talk now. There. I love live shows, kids. I know we can't hear them. We're working on it. We're working on it. This is what happens when you do live shows from around the world. Rob's in South Africa, kids. So we're working on the live show here. Hold on a second. Apologize for this. All right, you want to try again? No, you still can't hear you, big guy. You may have to come back in. Still can't hear you. This is a great live show. Anyway, so what Rob was saying while we're waiting for him is the whole global chaos seems like it's the Kardashians. Hey, this is great. I'll do all your stuff. When you can come back, let us know. So this may be the quickest live show we ever do. So anyway, you want to unplug your headset. Still can't hear you. It's your whole thing. Talk from the microphone in your computer. So there you go. Now try. No, now you're on mute. Unmute. There you go. Now speak. Can't hear you. No. I think people are just watching for the train wreck at this point. So if you can hear me, this is awesome. So I'll do like Marcel Marceau. This will be pantomime. We'll see how this works. So to all the millions of fans that are watching and listening right now, Rob's system just died. Apparently the South African government doesn't want him to talk about stuff. Yeah, I see you. How you doing? Good to see you. Everyone, all the fans see you too. and they're texting right now saying they can't hear you. So I don't know what to tell you. You may have to go in and come out, and I'll just do a puppet show. Can't hear you. No, can't hear you. You want to come in and come out, and I'll do a puppet show while they wait for you, and we'll talk about the Iran war, Iraq war, Iran, some war, and all the other stuff. No, I can't hear you. I'm sorry. Nope, still can't hear you. Yeah, all the fans right now are very upset. This is millions of fans. Listen, millions of fans. There you go. I hear you now. I heard you laugh. There you go. You're here now. No.
Am I
Now
back?
you're back. You're back.
Yes. Am I back?
We can hear you now.
Oh God.
So now one of the fans, just so you just need to get a pair of earbuds and stop trying to pretend you're like a professional. Anyway, one of our fans, while you were trying to fix your sound, said both words were started by a lie. And then another fan, when I said we have millions of fans listening, he wrote millions of fans with a question mark. Yes, I count differently than you. Anyway, continue with what's going on in the world. I did a puppet show for the last 3 minutes for everybody.
Okay. Can you hear me? You can hear me good.
Now we hear you. It's very exciting for us.
All right, fine. I don't know where I was. I was just saying that it started out in a very sort of tempestuous way. There were people who had big cojones, as you say, and it was an amazing idea. It was an amazing. I think it was a great idea. They didn't know if it was going to work. They started something new. I mean, it began the genesis, the provenance of what the U.S. was incredible. It was an amazing risk. They crossed the oceans. They started something. They got away from Europe, and it was brilliant. And then, obviously, during the 18th, 19th centuries, stuff happened. Early 20th centuries, 20th century. There was a power shift, and a lot of people were moving up. Anyway, whatever. I'm not going to give a whole historical thing. What I'm trying to say is the principle of it and the genesis of it was marvelous. So where it came from, there was a particular goal, and you can debate this, debate that, but there is a thing called the Constitution, and there's the idea of no kings. You put those two together, and that is what the U.S. is not supposed to be anything like Europe. It's supposed to be exactly what that is not. Okay, right. It is. I mean, we can debate this all day, but what is clear is they were like, we don't want that. We've come from that. Goodbye. Cheers. Hello. I mean, goodbye. Okay. And I think what is confusing right now is that you've got a fellow. I mean, I don't disparage. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. And I don't think a lot of people are. You seem to have a growing group of people in the US who are neither. They're going, I don't like that. I don't like that, which is the way it's supposed to work. It's not supposed to be a tribal thing. I mean, we mentioned this. George Washington, when he left, he said, don't have parties. Parties are bad news. It's got to be in the current interests, and it's got to be an individual thing. And America's about the individual. It's not about tribes. Okay, am I wrong? How am I doing so far?
I think that used to be, but I think we've become very tribal.
I'm talking about used to be. Yeah. So the tribal thing, he was wary of that, because when the tribe becomes more important than the person, then all the party. Right. Exactly. So what you're having right now, it's almost like they pushed everything apart, and it's all just coming back together again. It's coming back to that default position where people feel comfortable in a tribe. It doesn't necessarily indicate that they agree with the tribe. They just want to be a part of the tribe. We have these points. We check those points. I'll give you an example. So the current thing is I hear this thing online. Oh, the Trump derangement syndrome thing. And because someone disagrees with him. Right. So you are absolutely, tell me if I'm wrong. It's a fundamental part of being, I'm going to say an American, but actually any Western civilization. It is a fundamental part of it to disagree. We must disagree. Disagreeing is important. That's what kings didn't want. They didn't want people disagreeing. So this was different. You are not permitted. You must disagree with respect, with information. You must disagree. There's no ways everybody can be right or everybody can be wrong. You've got to have these shades of humanity, if you follow what I'm saying.
Right.
So, and that's the way it was designed to be, and it was brilliant, and that's why it's worked so well. It is. It's ostensibly the last remaining superpower. It's an amalgamation of cultures, people.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like a metaphor of what they wanted the world to be. So it's the whole world, but in one country. Does that make sense?
Right. Yes, it does.
Except it could do with more languages, but that's another story. Anyway, so I think what is weird is when someone who isn't necessarily from one camp will say something, they go, well, we don't like what he said, and then they are met with this slew of insults and child playground whatever insult, and it just goes on and on and on. Mm-hmm. You go, people are entitled to disagree. That's good. Right. They don't have derangement syndrome. I've got a friend of mine who's very much and that's fine. He's a big fan of Donald, and that's great.
Sure.
Good. Okay, that's fine. And it's the same way you are. I mean, good. So, but he says, well, what about Biden? And I go, well, I didn't think Biden was much good either. So what does that mean? Have I got Biden derangement syndrome too? I thought both were not great. And I'll tell you something, right. Steve. Yeah. This will impress you. Which maybe it won't. But when the US started, if you look at some of the greatest presidents, so let's look at Mount Rushmore, for example. Let's look at the presidents on Mount Rushmore. Let's just say, who are the greatest presidents? Let's start with Mount Rushmore. Okay, so you've got George Washington, okay, who was in his late 50s when he became president, if memory serves me correctly. Then you've got Thomas Jefferson, who also was late 50s as well when he got in. You've got Teddy Roosevelt, who was barely 40. What, he's about 42, 41, 42? Well,
his waist was about 42, 43 when he got in. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So
he was a great president, though. Teddy Roosevelt was like the man.
Okay, so he was barely into his 40s, and then you have Abraham Lincoln, who was sort of mid-50s thereabouts.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So my point is, all four of them, none of them had hit 60 when they became president. In fact, one of them wasn't even 50, and they were at the top of their game. They were still young enough to understand that, but not too old to be ready for the retirement home. So there was a good balance. So there's four of your, like the top presidents, all of a similar sort of age, if you get what I'm saying. What is it? And then you've obviously got JFK. You've got, in recent years, you've got what?
But I wouldn't say JFK was a great president.
No, so I can say that. I'm saying, no, hold it, Steve. I'm saying in recent memory. So you've got the JFK, you've got George Bush, you've got Barack Obama, you've got Bill Clinton, and all of a similar sort of age. But in recent years, you've got the first term of Trump, you had him, what was he? Was in his late 60s, early 70s. Now he's about to be 80. Biden was in his 80s when he left office. Now, I'm just saying, if you look at some of forget their political views. If you look at Donald Trump from 30, 40 years ago, whatever you think of him, the guy was sharp. Same with Biden. Sharp in their 40s, 50s, lovely. If I look at my grandfather, for example, he was 90 something when he died. When he was I remember as a kid, so he was what, 60, 70 when I was a kid, and then he passed on. And he was in pretty good shape. But there certainly was quite a big decline from 70 to 90.
Right.
And that's true for all of us. I'm saying
Except William Shatner.
I know.
Yeah, like he's 94, 95 years old, and the guy is sharp as a tack.
He's 95. He just celebrates 95th.
Okay. And, happy birthday, Bill.
Quick joke.
Yeah.
They were having you might have heard, they were having a birthday party at his house, his 95th birthday.
Yeah.
And they couldn't find him. At one point, they couldn't find him. Where's William? Where's Captain Kirk? What's going on?
Yeah.
Couldn't find him. Anyway, eventually he comes staggering into the lounge. Says, guys, I'm fine. Don't worry about it. And they said, wait. He said, I was just stuck in the toilet. I was fighting the Klingons. Never mind. Anyway, the Klingons.
But I'm pumped. You should till Thursday, folks. Tip your wait staff and try the veal. Hey, before you go on, we have a fan who wrote something which is interesting, and let's get your thing on this if we can. It says the idea of rugged individualism is a challenge in the global economic environment. It's why tankers are not moving through a body of water on the other side of the world. It impacts us in the country each day. What's your thought? Now we lost you again. Now you have no voice. What'd you do? What'd you touch? You touch something, didn't you? That's what happens. You touch things on your screen, other than touching yourself. You touch something on your screen, and now you're not there anymore. You know, for all the money you make as a big celebrity in South Africa, you would think you would have top-notch, like, recording equipment. You would have like the perfect setup. You would be ready to go. Yeah, I see it. Congratulations. You got a microphone that doesn't work. So just so you clear, I see the microphone and it doesn't work. Just so you know, these are called AirPods and the AirPods work. Is that the on button? The battery died. So you don't have a battery. It's for all the money that you make, you can't even charge your microphone. This is awesome. Yes, I'm number one in your book. I totally get that. I was fascinated about Teddy Roosevelt, and then you stopped. So the Rough Riders and the age. I don't know what to tell you. You're dead again. The fans, millions of fans are now heartbroken again. Yeah. There you're back. Congratulations. So there you go. I know
what the problem was. Would you like to know what the problem was?
Please tell me the problem. If I have to plug it in, feed the mice, what?
You know, you said I've got tons of money.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me tell you what it is. Yeah. I have some fancy equipment that was plugged in, and I've unplugged the fancy equipment. So now I'm using the cheap stuff.
And it works. There you go. Yeah. Anyway.
I'm the cheap stuff, the cheap that works. So hang on, where were we? I was going to say,
we were talking about, what did you say? Abe Lincoln, Teddy Roosevelt. We're going through the guys.
No, individualism. Somebody said something.
Individualism. Oh, no, this gentleman, you can read it on the screen. He just said the idea of rugged individualism is a challenge in the global economic environment. It's why tankers are not moving through the body of water on the other side of the world that impacts us in the country each day. That's what he said.
Rugged individualism. I would say tribalism. I don't know about individualism.
Yeah. I was going to say, I don't think it's individual. I think it's tribalism, but I think he may be referring.
Hang on, let me answer that. I think, I don't know, individualism. No. Well, because there's one guy running the show. Is that what we're saying? Who's the leader of a tribe? Mm-hmm. Yeah. But also there's just so much, the information is not good. I was speaking to someone recently, and they said in the last 5 years, certainly the last 10 years, we've developed or produced more information than ever, forever. There's just so much information, and it's really difficult to know what's true and what's not. I don't know what to make of that whole thing in the Strait of. What did somebody say? What the Strait of
it's the Strait of Hormuz. But yes, go ahead.
I mean, Dire Straits. But yeah, that's just okay. Let me answer it in a flippant way and say that the problem is you've got. I'm just going to say this. You've got too many old men who don't give a shit about anybody else on both sides. Just sending people into war. Saying shit that they have not verified, and none of it's true. So how do we move forward? Right. It's impossible because facts are facts, but everything else is bullshit. The reason why everything is stuck in the Strait of Hormuz Hormuz, whatever it is, because it's one bullshit reality show. That's why. There is no truth to any of it. So I don't know how you unglue any of it, because everybody is talking the biggest lot of shit. We all know that, I think. But the people who are in charge, do they know it though? I think so. I heard somebody say they play him like a fiddle, like a 30-second highlights reel of what's going on. I don't know, Steve. I don't know. I don't know if that's true. I would hope if you're the president, you would spend some time looking at intelligence reports. I hope he's doing that. I don't know.
I don't know. The people that wrote his first term, the people that wrote books about him said not so much. So I think it's somebody said it's the last best thing that he hears. So so my whole issue with this little skirmish that we have going on that's screwing up the oil prices, depending on how you look at it, is why. I mean, I understand that I understand why Israel wants to attack them, but I'm like, so why? Because they were going to produce some nuclear weapons? Really? I mean, and maybe they were, but it's sort of like, that's always our excuse, right? Oh, they have nuclear weapons, we're going to go in. They have nuclear this, we're going to go in. But I mean, it's sad. It's kind of pathetic because then they don't find it. And it's like, oh, we made a mistake. And then we cause all this Hazarai over there in the Middle East. And everyone's like, oh, we're sorry. So,
okay. Steve, you can still hear me, Max. Good?
Yeah.
Just checking.
Yes, I can hear you, Ted Baxter.
I think what's sad for me is the level of bullshit. I mean, okay, let's just take the Iranian situation to the side, because it's very clear that the facts change every day. 1 minute everything is destroyed, and then it's all back, and then there's a nuclear program, and there isn't one because that's all gone, and then the strait is open, then it's closed, and then I'll just take people's oil and whatever. Put that aside. So I'm going to talk about something I absolutely know about. I've never actually been to the Strait of Hormuz. That would surprise me, I know. But where I've been is where I am right now. Here in this. I mean, I'm an English fellow, but I've spent most of my life in South Africa and sometimes in the US. So I know for a fact, I do, that when the president of this country went there, I'm gonna reference this to explain the level of bullshit that's going on. So, president of this country, who I'm absolutely not a fan of, went to the US, and I thought, this is good, Ramaphosa. I thought, this is good. I'm glad that South Africa is on Trump's radar, because whatever you may think of him, right, left, up, down, in, out, who cares? At least this is now something that's going to be on the world stage, and people are going to go, oh shit, South Africa, what's going on there? That's what I hoped for. I thought, okay, so facts are going to be presented. We've got a big corruption problem here. We've discussed all this. And I thought, good. And Donald's going to look at this, the president's going to look at this and go, this is really bad. And the president from this country is going to arrive there, and he's going to go, look at that corruption, look at that. And I thought, this is going to be great. It's going to be very awkward for President Ramaphosa, and Trump's going to meet him. Then this is going to be good. It's going to be good because the truth's going to come out. And yet he arrived, and somebody had filled Trump with the biggest lot of bullshit. And I sat there watching this, thinking, oh God. There were the crosses on the side of the road, which he said, these are all graves. No, they weren't. They symbolized people that had been killed. Right. It's a big difference. These were not graves. There were so many things that he spoke of in that meeting. Now, the reason I bring it up is a lot of the things that he said were half true. Some of it was bullshit. But you go, oh shit, you nearly, but you're not there. Right. And now what happens is the people that don't necessarily want the US to find things out are in a powerful position, because they can go, well, that's all bullshit. So do you understand what I'm saying? So I wanted the conversation to start, but the people that arrived were met with this garbage, these facts that were rubbish. So the whole thing was thrown out. So South Africa's off the radar now, but the problem remains. So what I mean to say is, I know for a fact that a lot of what was spoken about was bullshit. Right. They mentioned the farm murders. There are a lot of farm murders in this country. Lots. A lot of people get killed, but they are a fraction of the greater number of people that get killed. But every person that gets killed, that's not a good thing. There was the whole thing with the white genocide. There are there are gangs of black folk running around killing white people. That's what I would consider white genocide.
Right.
Or a state-sanctioned removal of a population group. That's white genocide. Right. Some people said to me, "Oh no, we mean economic genocide." That's not what anybody said. They said white genocide. That's what happened. And yet I can walk down the street here. Crime is a problem. Crime is a big problem. But white genocide is not. Yeah. So if you can prove instantly that that's not a problem, then the crime thing goes out the window, the corruption thing goes out the window, and everybody forgets about it. And you go, no, we've still got a crime problem. People are still dying, and there's still corruption. Now, you said there was white genocide, and that's not happening, so it's all bullshit. Baby with the bathwater. Back to what's going on in the Strait of Hormuz. I don't know. Full disclosure, I don't know. You and I don't know really what the hell's going on. But what's being presented to people every day changes. And you know that it can't change that quickly. So the whole thing must be bullshit. So either Iran has a nuclear program, which is bad, or it doesn't. So it was either wiped out or it wasn't. They either have a military which has been wiped out or they don't. They can't be, both can't exist at the same time.
You can't be a little bit pregnant.
No, this is
which is what this is.
Now, to the I didn't really want to talk about this Iran thing, but anyway, in terms of the nuclear situation, I don't know this. I just want to be clear. I haven't been there. I haven't seen it. I'm not a fan of Iran. I'm not. I think a lot of people are not. But here's the problem. If you don't like something, you and I could come up with a list of 10 things, countries, people, places we don't like. That doesn't give me the right to go and dictate what I want and what I believe to those people. This is how wars start. This is how millions of people die. We've done this before. Humanity's done this before. We're supposed to be progressing. That doesn't mean bad people are not going to exist. So here's the thing. The argument was we're going to go and help the Iranian people. Okay. By bombing them? Does that help them? So you're a guy with limited means in Iran, and you're being persecuted by the Iranian government. Let's just look at that guy. He wants to get out. He's in dire straits, and he thinks America's coming to help me. Oh shit! They're bombing my country. Doesn't really help me. Okay. People say, well, what are we supposed to do? I don't know. Find out how you can help them before you go and bomb the fuck out of them. That could be a start. No one is saying anyone liked the regime there. There is reports, again, I don't know, I've never lived there. There were reports of major human rights abuses, blah, blah, blah. Bad. Okay. So, Steve, let's say you've got shit going on at your house.
Okay.
Or I've got shit going at my house, and you don't like what's going on in my house.
Right.
But I've got people, animals, community where I am. And you say, Roald, I don't like what's going on at your house. Roald, whatever, got the two names. I don't like what's going on at your house. So what I'm going to do is, in order to help you, well, not you, but the people that you are oppressing, I'm going to bomb your entire house. That should work. That's going to fix that. And then boom, and then half the people in my house die. The animals run into the veldt or the wild. But you've helped me, Steve. And while you're there, while you're bombing my house, you notice shit. He's got a lot of tools and equipment and expensive. I'll just take those. Yeah. And then people said, so Steve, did you go there for the equipment? Was that what you were there for? Or did you want to go and help Roll? Or did you want to help? You wanted to get rid of him, but you wanted to help the people. It doesn't sound. Yes, but he I heard he had big guns. He had this massive defense system. And I sent a group of people out and we took it out. And then we went to the house where the guns had been removed, and then he shot at us. But I thought you took out his defense system. Yeah, we did. And it's gone. It's finished. But we need to make sure he doesn't shoot at us with the guns he doesn't have, and the equipment that we don't want, and the people that we want to help but are killing. Right. So here's but on that point, if I may, here's
here's on the point, which I thought was interesting. They keep saying we've taken out their military, but meanwhile, they're still mining the Strait of Hormuz. And I'm like, if you have no Navy left and we supposedly sunk your Navy and we killed all your aircraft, and apparently you have a couple drones left over that you're getting from Russia, why can't we go through the Strait of Hormuz now? What's the problem? That's my question is so we destroyed everything to your point, but we still can't go through the strait because it's mined. I don't get it.
I'll tell you something else that's interesting. Let's take the position, love what he's doing. He's wiping out the Iranian military regime and he's liberating the people.
Sure.
Cool. But there seems to be a lot of conflicting information coming out. But anyway, let's say we're in a parallel universe, Steve. Okay. We all believe this is for the greater good and it's going fantastically well. And this is it's a bold move. It's a 5D chess move and it's brilliant. Let's take that position for a second. Okay.
Sure.
According to the U.S. Constitution, you're supposed to go to Congress before you do anything. So it's been set up in that way so that when things go badly, like George Bush, it didn't go well. But the point is he did go to Congress and ask permission.
Right.
So that meant there was, it didn't go well, but he had backup. He had legal backup. There was legal precedent. And you go, okay, didn't go the way we wanted, but he did go and make a case for it in Congress. So, you got to give him that. And everybody had to look at the file and say, yeah. President Bush, cool. Okay. Whatever. Was the information good? No, not great, but you at least had more people, democracy, involved in that decision. Right now, you're a guy, even if you like him, you have to acknowledge the fact that what has been done is decidedly against the U.S. Constitution. Or am I wrong? What am I missing?
No. He didn't do it for Venezuela. He didn't do it for here. And people in Congress are like, hey, you got to ask for permission, and we haven't done that. It's the same with the tariffs. The Supreme Court shot down his tariffs, and he said, yeah, but I'm going to charge 10% anyway. So it's kind of like so you keep saying the Constitution, which is really cute, because it doesn't exist anymore. And so because it doesn't exist anymore, every time you say we have a Constitution, it's sort of like, kind of do we? Because it seems like, and I guess the midterm elections will tell us, it seems like we more have a king. So until we get back to a democracy, we don't really have a constitution. It's kind of like the whim.
Which is the point, in a way, that's what I was setting up in the beginning, get to this point, to say that I enjoy what America was about, how it was formed. Get away from the kings because kings, we don't want kings. We don't want some guy in office to do whatever I want. Or, if you do, there's countries you can go to right now where they will happily dictate to you, and that's fine. You can go move there. But
North Korea, wonderful place.
Yeah, exactly. I've got nothing. Apparently, the story goes, I phoned a friend in North Korea, and I said, how's it going? He said, I got nothing bad to say. Anyway, the point is, the thing I'm trying to make is, I don't want, because you'll say something like, the tariffs weren't constitutional, the war wasn't constitutional. Right. You get this immediate blowback. Trump, Trump. And I go, this is nothing to do with Donald Trump. This is to do with how the country was formed, why it was formed, and to ensure its longevity. If you set something up, if you build a car, if you build something according to a set of instructions and a plan, and then you completely ignore the plan, this might not last. That's what I'm saying. It might not last. What has ensured America's survival, the U.S.'s survival, is that it had this a genius system where of the three, doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. And it had those protections built in, which meant the ordinary bugger in the street was protected. And that gets me to my next point. And that is, so let me ask you, Steve, you're there right now.
Yes.
And wars are going on and tariffs are being put in place and it's never been better. What did I hear the other day? America is back. I wasn't aware that it had gone, but that's okay.
We did. We took a holiday for a couple of weeks and we came back. It was very nice. We got some sun.
Which is good. I'm this may surprise people. I'm very pro-America. I mean, I feel like if things go whatever, I still might want to be part of it. I think it's a great club. I do. I think it's no. You're a bit more cynical about it. If you take off the bullshit, what it is good. It is you and I had that conversation about the education system. I constantly have to defend it to people here and they go, "Oh, American system, it's so full of stupid people." And I go, "Wait the fuck up. Just wait." My daughter went to high school in the US, and so I got firsthand experience of what it was about. Now, pretty much every other Western country, Europe, here, well, sort of a Western country, Australia, wherever, the education system works in such a way that as you go through the grades, you all go together. So you'll do English, math, geography, history, whatever, and you'll be doing it at level 8, 9, 10, whatever. And I go, not true in the States. Well, that wasn't our experience. My daughter had to start Spanish from scratch. So she was, at one point, she was a junior in Spanish, but her science skills are very good. So she was taking AP physics in the same year. And the credit system is almost like a university, almost like a college. It's different. It's more tailored to the abilities of people. I think that's brilliant. I think that some people might disagree with me. I think that's great. Maybe you're not so great at languages, so you get a couple of language credits because ultimately you need that to graduate. But then you can push forward on the physics and the math and the history, and I think you can do what works for you. It's more. I found it a more tailored education system, and the teachers were great. And this was a public school. The teachers were great. The yellow bus transportation. I know you used to, Steve. For me, that was brilliant. It's some fantastic things that work. Not the healthcare, but anyway,
I think that's changed now. Your daughter was here like 10 or 20 years ago. The education,
she graduated in 2015.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's a long time ago. The education system now, probably not what you remember. I have friends that when they send their kids to school, will ask, like, what'd you learn today? And they tell you, I'm like, no, really, what'd you learn today? And they tell us, and we're like, what the hell? Like, that's not, unless you go to private school, it's sad. Now, there may be certain places that public school is still wonderful, but I think for the most part, it's become a system of where we're just going to get you in and get you out. It's not like when we went to public school, you actually had to learn something. And if you didn't learn, you didn't graduate, or you didn't get promoted to the next grade. I think now it's just a matter of, hey, Johnny showed up at least 4 days out of the 180 he had a B. Great. Let's have him go from A to Z. I think it's much different than it used to be.
Steve, I mean, you and I can chat for hours and hours. I just want to, and we could, and we might, but can't do it today. But I want to say this.
Yeah.
The thing that worries me the most is the almost necessity to disagree seems to be frowned upon in American media, right? That's what it seems to be. So in other words, if you and I disagree, I hate your party, I hate your guy, we can't eat dinners together, and that is just nuts.
Right.
That's what worries me, and it speaks to a larger problem. Whilst the rest of the world was blowing itself up, you had the world wars and so on. Oh, that's something I want to go into just now. But anyway, you had the wars going on. America just got on with the business of building and creating. You had the interstate system, which was in the 40s and 50s, if I'm not mistaken, and a great thing's being built. There was the Boston underpass, which all the European engineers said couldn't be done. And the folks, they said, no, we're going to find a way. There's this we'll find a way attitude, which has always been so great. Now, and it's a good person to be in a position of leadership. But now you've got a situation where this ability to disagree, like adults, seems to be being lost. And as we lose that, so the truth disappears as well. So there is no truth anymore. And that's incredibly dangerous. Here's the problem with a guy like Trump disregarding the U.S. Constitution and going to Venezuela, possibly Cuba next, the Strait of Hormuz, and saying things like, I'll just take their oil. Okay, that's very reality show of you. But what happens when China does the same thing to Taiwan? What happens there? The US, which had a position of authority, of credibility. I mean, you've often heard it said, the man that sits in the White House is the leader of the free world. That's because people have looked to the US as thank fuck, that's there at least.
Right.
Oh my God, whatever. We're fucking up, but at least that's there. Oh, that's gone now. That for many European minds, that's gone. That partnership, that ally is gone. We can't rely on that. So who do we rely on? So when China goes and takes Taiwan, and you better believe they're thinking about it and planning it, and building islands all over the whatever it is, the South China Sea,
South China Sea, yeah,
and they're building islands. And by the way, I have nothing against the Chinese. I think the Chinese have done amazing things. I love
their food.
Their food's great, and got a good mate who I think he was born there, but he grew up here. One of the smartest people brilliant. But you should hear what he has to say about where China is. I can't say what he said. He can say it. I can't do that. But it takes away. We don't want to be the world's policeman. Yeah, but the world needs one. The world fucking needs one, and that one is gone now. So everybody, it's open season. It's open season. So you can't have anybody now in the White House saying, "Yo, what's Russia doing in Ukraine?" Well, that's none of your business, Mr. President, because look what you're doing in Afghanistan or the Strait of Iran and so on.
Venezuela.
So shut up and fix that, and we'll just do what we want. Okay, none of your business. So that position of authority is now gone. So you've got a situation where this amazing democracy is now just joined the pack. It's now part of the pack. It's now there's no one, there's no adults in the room anymore, and that's what scares the living shit out of me. And I want to say one final thing, because I keep hearing this all the time. The whole NATO thing. If I hear another idiot online say something like, "Well, we pay so much to NATO," no, the US fucking does not. The US pays itself. It arms itself. It's 2%. It does more. But I think Poland spends more per GDP on its military than the US does. So shut the fuck up about all this money that supposedly goes to NATO. It doesn't go to NATO. It goes to your own country. Here's why. We're a bunch of friends, and we're worried about the big bully, right? But that big bully is strong. Now, all of you need to go to the gym. I go to my gym, and I pump up. You go to your gym, and you pump up. You eat properly. You need to take care of yourself. So that when the big bully comes, we can all band together and we can get rid of him. But I don't go to the gym for you. I don't buy your food for you. This is what I mean. Countries look after themselves so they can be a decent partner to be called upon. That's what the fucking NATO thing is. Why do people think that America funds NATO? It fucking doesn't. It literally doesn't.
That's because the orange man says it does, and people don't know. And they remember the conversation we had 2 days ago off air, and I said people are just stupid. This is the problem. People don't read. They don't look into history. They don't look into how things work. So when somebody says this is what's going on because they see it on TikTok or they see it on Instagram or YouTube, they're like, "Oh, that's what's going on. It's true." No, it's not true. So
it just isn't. And first and foremost, I mean, I'm going to repeat this because people have heard it, but maybe we need to repeat it again. For the love of God, Article 5 says if you're attacked, if the US is attacked, which it was 9/11, then everybody else comes to that particular country. We now are exercising Article 5. Okay. Let's go and get the bully together. The only person that's fucking done that is the US. No other country has done that. And it's not about starting wars. It's about defending yourself from a bully. That's what it is. So if you go and pick a fight with a bully, that's not how NATO works. Read it. It's there. This is the way it was designed. It is a defensive alliance. That's it. If you got a problem with, if I on my own time go and start a war with a bully, that's my problem. No one has to help me. and to turn around and disparage allies and say shit like, oh, well, the British military have shitty little toy tanks and their troops held back. Fuck you, the man that didn't go to Vietnam. And I hear this time and time again. And the people go, no, fuck NATO, fuck the UN. Okay, if the UN's gone, and well, look, I'm not a major fan of the UN, to be honest, because you've got all these countries that can veto anything, so nothing fucking gets done. But NATO, are you kidding me? So let's take NATO away. And then what? Then what? Oh my God. Then what? Oh, I don't know. It's just read a fucking history book. Jesus. You know?
Well, and that's part of that goes back to the education system. And that goes back to people don't read anymore. And that goes back to people don't want to be informed because they have more important things to do. I'm not really sure what it is, but
why don't people want to know what's true? Why?
Because people like to play ostrich, and it's easier to stick your head in the sand, and you can complain about it to your friends, neighbors, coworkers, and you don't care, because at the end of the day, they just feel helpless, and people just don't care anymore. I think we've got to a point on the planet where we have 8 billion people. There's really no more apathy. Everybody's out for what they can do for themselves. They realize that, if you will, their government doesn't really help them. They realize that people don't really care. And that's it. And that's the whole thing.
Oh, I'm loving the comments.
I know. I'm reading the comments. I think they're very cool.
And it proves my point about the prefrontal cortex that is absent in people. So, in other words, instead of coming at me with a fact, we just go, no, he's upset. I'm not upset. I'm interested in the truth, which you clearly are not. You just want to listen to one guy and his interpretation of it, which is bullshit.
Right.
You know it, but you don't want to face it. But anyway,
there is one gentleman that had a nice comment earlier for you. He said Article 5 was invoked one time and the alliance responded after 9/11 when we were talking about Article 5. And there you go. So.
Yeah, you would have to know me to actually understand what makes it. This isn't me being upset. This is me being frustrated at something really good. You will find, very pro what America is, not what somebody has turned it into. And there is lots of historical precedents for that. Oh my God, I just used a word that's got too many syllables in it. But that's what people resort to. I see it here. I see it on the Fox comments. It's just baby insult. Yeah, your mom is an ass, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. Sure. And what? What has that changed? You haven't presented me with an alternative. Well, actually, an alternative answer. What is your argument? What is your basis for it? Do you understand what NATO is about? Do you understand how the second? I mean, what's the fantastic one? All right, let's poke the bear now. Let's do it. You'd all be speaking German. Okay. Well, here's what's interesting about that. If you actually read history and you look at what the U.S. involvement was in the Second World War, it's in history books. Tell me if I'm wrong here, Steve. Oh my God. America per se didn't get involved. People went over from the U.S. Just to be clear. All right. It didn't collectively as a nation join the Second World War. Go look it up. Okay. And there were tremendous American soldiers. Fact. They went, and their contribution is fantastic. But it was a team effort. It wasn't one country. Not one country did one thing. That's what an alliance is.
That's correct.
The guys got together and they beat the bully. This bullshit where one person is taking credit or country's taking credit for everything is just, it's childish. It's not based in fact. And if that's how we operate, so in other words, Steve, if I come to your aid and all I want is adulation and glory, then what do you need my help for, Steve?
Correct.
What do you need my help for? Are we friends, or am I the shining star in the friendship? It's such bullshit. It's irrelevant. And there is a factual basis for it. And I'll tell you one other thing, because this will really poke the bear. At the start of the Second World War, the financial capital of the world was?
London.
What was it at the end of the Second World War?
New York City.
Why? Why did it change, Steve?
Because we helped beat the bully and we moved everything here. And what people don't know and people, here's what the other thing people don't know is that Winston Churchill spent many weeks and months in the United States as a guest of the government at the White House or in upstate New York with Roosevelt, pleading and begging him to get involved. And it wasn't until they bombed Pearl Harbor when we entered the war.
Yeah.
And there's I read this book about a year or two ago. It's a fascinating book. It's Winston Churchill in the White House, if I'm not mistaken, is the name. And it's fascinating. And it talks about how he would come over and he'd sit with Roosevelt and Mrs. Roosevelt, and he would just plead and beg and make his case. And finally, after the bombing in Pearl Harbor, we were like, okay, now it's time to get involved. But if that never happened, we probably never would have gotten involved.
Yeah.
So I thought it's interesting talking about history.
Taking the devil's advocate position, it was a European problem. It wasn't, and it's a devil's advocate position. You could argue it wasn't America's business. Sure. Okay. So then, Steve, if I'm your friend and I only do things and help you at times when it serves me, am I still your friend?
No, you're just somebody that's taking advantage of an opportunity.
And I'm not your friend. I will help you. A friend, an ally, helps you even when it isn't necessarily in their own best interest. That's a problem.
Right.
Otherwise, I could be anybody. There's no relationship. If you and what happened to go further to that point, a lot of weapons were supplied by the US. And tell me if I'm wrong about this. The weapons that were supplied were not exactly top drawer, but top drawer prices were paid.
Yes.
How am I doing? Carry on. You carry on, because apparently I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. You carry on. Tell me.
You know what you're talking about. It's just, well, and I think part of the frustration for some of our fans here is that, and to Trump's point, he went to the Gulf and he said to the people in NATO, the alliance, hey, help us here. And everyone was kind of like, nah, we're good. So I understand that frustration. And then I understand their frustrations, like, dude, you didn't come to us. You just went and kind of did it. So I think that's part of an issue as well. It's sort of like, you could have at least given us that phone call and go, hey, by the way, can we go from X, Y, Z? And they didn't. And I think that had a lot to do with it as well. So, I mean, there's this give and take. If I'm going to go bomb a country, now, if I'm Israel, no, I'm not telling anybody. I'm just going to go bomb them because, you're threatening my people and that's the way it goes. But if I'm the United States, and by the way, this is like when the British invaded the Falkland Islands, they moved their whole fleet towards the Falkland Islands. So when the Falklands got attacked, they were like, this is a shock. We didn't even know we were going to be under attack. Really? You mean the 90 ships and vessels that were heading that way there was no clue. So this is kind of like, we kind of started to move things into the Middle East. I think there should have probably been a phone call.
There should have been a phone call, but I just want to say one other thing. So let's say I insult we get to know each other. I become, you'll see with the analogies going, or metaphor.
Yeah.
So we get to know each other. I'm now the guy that you deal with, and for the first, I don't know, what are we now? April. When did the war start? March. So for
March.
15 months, I disparage everything about you. I say, we don't need you. I make your life difficult. I charge you for extra things. I tell people that you've raped my house, that you've done all sorts of things, and you've taken advantage of me, notwithstanding the fact that my economy is 20 times bigger than yours. But you have had your fill, and I've been abused. And there's you, and I've been anyway, whatever. And I do that for 15 months. And also, while that's going on, I insult your wife. I say she's ugly. I talk about your kids. I mention some of the things you've done, and I say, yeah, he's not really that good. And then after 15 months, I go and pick a fight with someone.
Right.
Wonder why you don't help me.
Mm-hmm.
So part of me says, this is going to surprise you. The part of me says, I would have liked a bit of European involvement in that, actually, believe it or not. In other words, this is what I would have liked to have seen. I would have liked to have seen the adults in the room across Europe say, look, the guy's a chop. He's an idiot. Okay. But we like America. So let's just, fuck's sakes, let's just go and, because ultimately this is going to be good for all of us. I would have preferred, because an adult doesn't necessarily make decisions based on their feelings. They go,
Correct.
Yeah, he's insulted us. Yeah, okay, he's disparaged us. He's whatever. And he says he doesn't like us and he doesn't need us and whatever.
Right.
But let's be clear. Where he's going and the shit that he's about to start, it's going to affect us. So let's just poke our nose in there anyway. So that if it comes to the part where he says, why didn't you help me? We go, well, mate, we were knocking on the door. We were banging on the door. That's what I kind of wish they had done. In spite of feeling aggrieved and insulted, they should have just done that anyway. I do think that.
Well, that's what I was saying earlier. It's that you should have done that. And also, you don't want China coming to help. And realistically, that's going to be like, I know he's meeting with Xi, I think, next month. And if he goes, Trump. So if you go to Xi and you go, hey, I need some help in the strait, that's the last, and in my opinion, now I don't, I'm not a military expert, so I just play one on TV. But I don't want China to come help. I think it'd be good if our allies would come show up. But that's kind of where I can see the frustration with people. To your point, yes, he's made fun of them, called them stupid, this and that. The ugly wife and kids, and some of their kids are ugly. I've seen them, but the fact that there's some of them, some of the British with the teeth, the whole thing. Anyway, but the problem is that now they're all complaining, oh, look at our petrol prices. They're going up. Well, then go help and stop complaining. So to that avail, I'm like, yeah, it does have a point.
Yes. And here's the thing with the argument is if you want someone to behave like an adult, then you need to behave like an adult.
That is true.
Join them in whatever it is this is. Okay. So that's the issue I have with a lot of the European leaders. Right. So what it does is it emboldens his argument. Look, he should have consulted and he should have treated them like allies. Should have didn't. But he did start a scrap that he found himself in a bit of a spot of bother with. The adult would have said, okay, let me come and help you, whatever. I would have liked to have seen that. And so this isn't an anti-Trump thing. This is just some sanity, just some, I don't know. The whole thing is because this got to the point of why are all these ships stuck there? Because I don't think anybody knows what the fuck they're doing. That's to be honest with you. I think
and this one fan just wrote it. Just a tad help would be awesome. I agree with them 100%. You can't complain. You can't complain about oil, petro, diesel prices in your country if you're not going to help defend the strait. And so with that, granted, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Oman, all these countries are there and they're helping, but it's the ones like, if you will, France, the UK, Canada, whatever, they're not. And I'm kind of like in Germany, and they're all complaining about their oil prices. And I'm like, well, then at some point you're going to have to kind of like go over there and do something. It doesn't matter whether you like our president or you don't like the skirmish or you don't. You're going to have to put your big boy pants on and go, we don't really care that he keeps calling our baby ugly, which it is. And then I can't help it. They have ugly babies. And you have to go defend. You're going to have to go defend with your ally. And if not, then I understand why Trump keeps going, we should pull out. They're not helping.
Now, Steve, what we have just described is exactly what I wish. This is the way I wish things were. Because if I could have 5 minutes or 10 minutes with those European leaders, I would say to them, look, okay, you're supposed to be adults, right? Yes, there's whatever that is in the White House, but don't worry about the person. Look at the office. Look at the history. Look at the connection. No, he did that, and he hasn't got any rights to do. Fuck off. Don't worry about it. You know what he is. He's never changed. That's one thing you have to say about him. He's never changed. Right. He's not like, what was her name? And I'm sorry, I'm going to stir the pot. I mean, Kamala Harris, she changed a lot. Yeah. She did. Yeah. I'm not saying I am blue or green. I don't care. It's not my fight. But when they said in those elections, they said, "Yeah, she keeps changing her position." When the Trump people said, they were absolutely right. She did. She 1 minute she was this, then she was that, then she was that. What I will say about the Don is he's been absolutely consistent with who he is. Whether you like it or not, there he is. He is. You know what he's going to do. You should know that he's going to do stuff like that and go, "Oh God, there he goes again." All right, just get hold of his people and just tell them, if there's a problem, we'll help. Just put us on the speed dial. We'll help. They don't have to worry about pleading. We'll be there because it affects us too.
It affects everybody.
Guys, I would say, it's not about liking him. All right. This is something that affects you too. It affects everyone. So grow the fuck up. He should grow up. Don't worry about it. That's not your business. You can't make someone else grow up, but you can grow up. That's what you have control over. So do that. So if you want someone to behave in a certain way, it needs to start with you. So this is what I'm saying, Steve. It's surprising. I'm not anti or pro. It's about being an adult, being able to disagree. I had my friend here who's he loves Donald. We had a chat about this yesterday, and he says, "What do you think of him?" I said, "I don't know Donald personally. Bill Maher apparently had a brilliant dinner with him, and he was something different. He's a showman. I get that. I don't love or hate the guy. I don't know him, not personally, so I can't form a personal opinion about him. I haven't had a conversation with him one-on-one where we just talk it. I'm pretty sure he'd probably be different, maybe not. But he's a showman. He's always been a showman. So whatever.
Here's two things. One, Dennis, and this is an interesting comment. Dennis writes, why should they help with Israel and the U.S. in an illegal war? Well, technically, then, Dennis, every war would be illegal. That would mean Russia invading the Ukraine, China trying to go and so on. So I just want to say one thing about Trump really quick. If you want to know how he is, on Amazon, you can watch the Melinda movie. And may I tell you, that's spectacular. That's 90 minutes you'll never get back. Anyway, why? So the question is, Dennis, why should they help Israel and the U.S. in an illegal war?
Okay, in theory, they shouldn't. But let me tell you why they probably should. Because imagine we all live in a straw house. We all live this. We all live on the planet. Imagine it's a straw house. You and I and our mates, we're all living in the straw house, right? And you've got this guy called George, and he goes off into some corner and he starts a fire in a straw house. You see where I'm going with this? He starts a fire that you all live in a straw house. Should he have done that? No. Should he have known better? Yes. Do we not know that fire and straw, not a good combination? Everyone knows that. Problem is, the reality is he's done it. So what do? Do we sit in the kitchen and watch the whole house burn down? Or do we go and put the damn fire out and then we're all safe? So it's not about whether what he's done is bad. What he's done affects us. So we kind of have to. We kind of have to go, well, shit, we better go and do something. So otherwise we sit and go, oh, look at that. We didn't help him. Oh, look, we're burning down. But we didn't help him. We did the right thing, and we're all going to die. But you see, that's the problem with it. It's not about, you can have a debate whether this is an illegal war, as you said, and go through Congress, and Israel's doing whatever, and he's doing. Okay, that's not the issue. The issue is that what he has done, or what he is, or his people, or whoever set in motion, affects us. So we kind of need a choice. Otherwise, we just watch the shit burn down.
Well, there's a couple interesting comments. This one guy says, he's insane. You guys are normalizing him. No, not really. We're just having an intellectual dialogue, so calm down. The other guy, and he says, he's an imbecile, not a showman. Once again, calling him an imbecile doesn't really help have a normal dialogue. So whether he is or he isn't, that's your opinion. So we're trying to do it. And I think this is the best one. Elect a clown, expect a circus. And yes, the American public did that, so Saturday Night Live would be better for the next 4 years.
I want to pick up on that comment. One of the best actors, I'm pretty sure that we wouldn't get on very well, but he is a phenomenal actor. You don't have to like his work or not. And he's He is a total basket case, imbecile, whatever. And that is
Right.
Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
Right? Now, what's my point with Trump? Well, German imbecile. He's a big personality.
Right.
He creates waves. It's a point of, okay, let's look at the wave thing. So he's bouncing around in the ocean. He's got this big presence. He's an imbecile, a showman, whatever you want to call him. He's bouncing around. Your ship is moving.
Right.
Do you sit and go, well, my ship's not moving. I'm not moving. It is. Right. So it's a reality you have to deal with. It doesn't matter what name you call him. He's there. He's in the office. So you might as well look at it this way. You might as well find an adult, selfish way to deal with it.
Correct.
You can look at him and go, as I said, I don't have a personal opinion about him because I've never met him. Right. Everything I've heard and seen is all media, and as we know, media. Okay, all right. But the ripple that has come from him or Stephen Miller or whoever else is around him, right. Steve Woodcock or whatever, it's affecting you. So you can call him a showman, an imbecile, a clown, a genius. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you call it. And no one's normalizing anything. Politicians are all batshit, not just Trump. All of them. I don't trust any of them. Left, right, up, down, as I've said. But it's just, as an adult, you have to deal with these people. That's just what it is. And getting back to the European thing, I was personally disappointed that they didn't. They know what he is. Come on, he visited there. He read that silly speech in the Houses of Parliament in the UK. I mean, God, come on. That's fine. Don't hate the guy. Just understand who he is and find a way to work with him. No one is saying you justifying or normalizing him. He's there. He's got the job. He's the guy you have to deal with. This is, if you don't like him, you can't ignore it. There he is.
Right. And in America,
might as well make the most of it. Yeah. Although, can I just say, making the most of it, what are those ridiculous cabinet meetings that he has?
They're the best.
Where everybody sits around him, funnily enough, all dressed like him. Red ties, I think, and oversized
white
shoes.
shirts, big things, and he sends them all shoes now. Listen. I'm just hoping, and I mean this. I want Cuba to get back on their feet because I do want to be the cigar czar. So, and then I get to sit in a cabinet meeting, but I'm going to wear like a Cuban smoking shirt instead and sneakers, just so we're clear. So,
See,
you know, yeah.
I'm going to say that because we could talk all day. I'm going to say this.
Yes, you should say this.
This isn't about you or I. It's not about winning an argument or calling someone the biggest name or you're a loser and you're this. We're supposedly, apparently not children. Maybe some of us. But as a father, I can tell you the best way, and I think I've done an okay job, I hope. The best way you lead people, the best way you exert influence, the best way you, I guess in a way, manipulate, get someone to come over to your point of view, is you have to give them a reason to. You have to walk the talk. You can't just throw names across the board. If you don't, if you're not happy with Trump for whatever reason, then instead of throwing names at him, then come up with your own plan. Because we've said this before, the problem, and it's not just the US, it's here too in this country. It's very easy to criticize someone.
Yep.
Easy. Trump this and whatever. Trump is there because, and most political leaders get elected because the other side hasn't done stuff or the conversation hasn't been had and certain people feel aggrieved by who's there, so they try something else. We know why Trump is there. He's a mirror, and it's very clever, actually. I have to say this about him. He is a mirror for a large percentage of the American public. He is. He voices what they are frustrated about. And it's not just America, the US, it's around the world. A lot of leaders, good leaders, ones who get voted as, they get there because rightly or wrongly, whatever your position is, they have listened or given the impression. You can say, no, he doesn't care about the people. It doesn't matter what you think.
Right.
They think that he does. So if you want them to care about you, you have to convince them that you do care about them. So instead of that, I'll just say one final thing. When Kamala Harris's campaign cratered, there was a commentator who said she was doing fine until she started talking about Trump.
Correct.
And that is the mistake that people make. Fine. You don't like him? Okay, whatever. He's bombing the East. Oh, what's your plan? So come up with a plan, give the people something better, give them something to hope for, and who knows? Otherwise, shut the fuck up and let the man do his job. I understand why people, I've got good friends. My friend is he's what you might call a maghat in the state I was in. He's a maghat, lovely guy. He's a bright guy. He voted for Trump. Guess what? We can still have conversations and talk about it and have a good laugh. There's no need to get personal, aggro, aggressive, whatever. That's immaterial. But there are frustrations that people feel, and those need to be listened to. And I think that's why he's there. The Iranian thing, no one liked the Iranian regime. They are, wow. And he is, whether you like it or not, the first president to actually do something about it. You can say he didn't do it for the right reasons. Well, that's your business. But he did something. No one else did. So a lot of people like that. You go, oh, shit, okay. Well, we should have done that. Yeah, you probably should have, but you didn't. And now he's doing it and people like it. And that you have to accept unless you have got a better plan. So I get that. I don't hate the guy. I do think of some of what he's done is extraordinarily odd, but that's my problem. It's no one else's. And I respect other people's rights to, or rights, not that I'm patronizing. They can think whatever they want. You're not going to change people's minds by criticizing who they like. That's not what's going to happen. You have to come up with your own plan. In other words, I've watched so many dramas where the lead character, about the political situation, the lead character is someone who's not going to play dirty. And yet, what happens in every political campaign around the world, people play dirty. Oh, he's a piece of shit. One day, someone will stop doing that, and maybe they'll do wonders. But
one day. So, and with that, boys and girls, we're going to let Rob Vega go. It's a pleasure. Thank you to all the fans, even all the comments, no matter what they were. We appreciate it. We're going to be back next week because you guys loved us so much. Rob's going to do this every day next week. No, I'm just kidding. We'll be back next week. Yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back one day next week. Subscribe, like the channel, and you'll get an alert. If not, just catch us wherever you catch us. And that's it. Anything you want to say to the fan before we leave? That was awesome. That's why you get paid all the money you do. All right, kids. We'll see. All right, everybody. We'll see you all next week. Have a great Friday. Cheers, everyone. You good? All right, here we go.
All good.
Thank you so much for listening to this Old Woods Rob Vega, whatever the hell he wants to call himself, fellow. You know, this podcast thing, it makes him feel very important, and he's a difficult fellow as it is to deal with. So thank you so much for putting up with him, and do take care.